So good afternoon and welcome to the SBS BoatLife Live on the Salt Stage. We've got the White brothers. Is that, now, we've got Harry,
Yep.
Charlie, and Thomas. And there's something very familiar about the three of you. Tell us the obvious.
Yeah, so we're identical triplets.
You are identical triplets.
Yeah.
Look at that.
All from the Isle of Wight.
And all from the Isle of Wight, and all love your sailing.
Indeed. Yeah. We've been doing it since... We joined the Royal Victoria Yacht Club in 2008. And we were doing some sailing with our mum up and down the creek. Well, we were just in a mirror dinghy, not really knowing what we were doing, but just on the water for a long time. So it's been great since, and never looked back.
Very good. Now, what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to. This will be a sort of a cross section. I can see a young lady over here who may or may not want to get into sailing. There's another one over here, and this will just be, I think, a cross section of how you might get involved, some of the things you might do on the way, and some of the things you possibly could win. So, optimists. This is really where a lot of sailors start. It's a little sort of bathtubby boat, very simple rig. You can't get into too much trouble. Funnily enough, I did not start at an Optimist. I started in a mirror dinghy, but this is obviously you lot. Looks like Osborne Bay. I can see the castle up there.
Yep.
Off the Isle of Wight. Talk us about what was going on there.
Yeah, so this is... this would have been back probably 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
Basically all our friends out training or racing. I think probably training. It's too long ago now to remember exactly, but yeah, like you said, bathtub of a boat, great for practicing, great for learning and getting into sailing. These days we've got things like RS Terrors, which are a lot faster, less sort of complex. You don't have to bother tuning them and things like that. You just pop the rig up and go, which seems to be the direction modern sailing is going, which is great for young kids and great for getting people involved.
Now I'm going to ask Thomas. Our youth circuit is very aimed at squads and seeing you up through the regional squads, through the youth squads, and up into the development squad, and eventually into the Olympic squad. And obviously this is the first tranche of where the Royal Yachting Association may notice a sailor. Back in the day, were you aspirational, or did you just like mucking about in boats?
Yeah, so when we first started, we didn't really have any ambitions to race, if I'm being honest. But then one of our friends' dads was like, no, we'll go out in 2010, so 2 years after we first started sailing Oppies. And he said, you know what, boys, you're all going to go racing. And we're like, no, I don't think so.
Are you competitive, the three of you?
Very competitive.
You are. That's
very,
a stupid
very
question, really.
Yeah,
stupid question.
And so we started club racing. We absolutely loved it. We just loved trying to beat each other. More than anyone else. We didn't worry too much about everyone else. But it was mainly about beating each other. If you beat someone, you wouldn't hear the back end of it. So really it started there. And we did do a few regional events and these sorts of things. We did get the offer to do zone squad sailing in that, but at the time, with school and also the commitment, just being on the island.
It is a lot of commitment, yeah.
It was quite difficult for us.
To do anything, you've got to get off the island and then up to Datchet or Queen Mary or wherever.
That's it, yeah. So we've done a few events along the way, here and there, but we've done them for fun. We're purely for fun in the Oppies, but we absolutely loved it. We'd had no aspiration of going higher in that circuit, but just to do a few here and there, we absolutely loved it. At first, we were very, I don't know about this. It's scary, being amongst so many people, thinking you have to do well or anything, but forget that. It was all just a fun time, and everyone's there to enjoy it, really.
Now, you couldn't get much different from little optimists to bigger cruiser racers. Where are we in this slide?
So this is from just outside the Hamble in the Solent. I'm on Minx 4, the left-hand yacht. And this is last year now in the X-Yacht Cup. We're racing on Minx 4, and I was bowman. Only a couple of years ago, I started getting into yachts, just asking friends and just going down to marinas and going, anyone going out sailing today, sort of thing. Started doing bow work because that's where all young people get put up at the bow, where you're nice and fit and you can run around.
We call that Marlborough country up the front there.
And it's a fairly new experience for us, yachting, but something that is opening our eyes to a lot more. Obviously, we've seen yachting for a long, long time, and just not fully transitioning into it, but just sort of getting the idea of it and enjoying that as well. So learning new things and just really honing new skills in sailing.
Well, it's part of our sport, isn't it? It's very much an end of our sport. You've got the youth circuit, the Little Optimists, and of course cruiser yacht racing is very there, especially in places like Cowes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so much stuff goes on the Solent, as you know. It's everything, like you say, dinghies, yachts, performance yachts. Finishes of amazing races that we get to see. We had the Ocean 50s, Trimarans come down, Leighton and those teams. So you really get to see the full spectrum where we are. We're very fortunate.
Now I see this next slide is here with BoatLife MD Richard Dove. What's happening here? I think it's this award here, which is the British Yachting Award 2022, Young Sailors of the Year.
Yeah, so it was very surprising, really. We didn't know we were nominated for this award. You can't put yourself forward for it. You're selected by Chelsea Magazine, who run the magazine Yachts and Yachting, which some of you may know.
We had a good
Yachting
talk
Monthly.
on the stage yesterday with Rob from that group.
Yeah, so here we are. We're up at Royal Thames Yacht Club in London. It's one of those, we got selected as a finalist, so there's 3 different groups of people. You had a sailing school, I can't remember their names, and a young guy who sailed solo across the Atlantic at the age of 16, which for most people is a lifetime achievement, but to do it at such a young age was incredible. So this was on public vote determined the winner. So unlike normal awards where it could be a panel or by winning an individual race, which led us to this point, it was by public opinion, and we came out on top and were very, very pleased, of course, to win that coveted award. But it was a long journey to get there.
Now, Charlie, we've you should tell us why you were nominated for this.
So this year at Cowes Week, we sailed a Squib, which is a double-handed keelboat. Here's myself and Tom. We won't tell you how we done on that day. We absolute bottom last. But no, we tried really hard this year at Cowes Week. To us, Cowes is our home, so we always try and make it our focal point of our sailing calendar. So we tried really hard this year. We came out on top. We won the Team Under 25 trophy. So everyone on board your vessel has to be under 25. This is across all classes. So it could be anything from a Cape 31, if you do have a team of all under 25s, which is highly unlikely, to anything like a Squib or a sonar. We won that with a race to spare, which was comfortable for us. But on the final day, we finished second in our race, and we won the Musto Young Skippers Award, which is also here. We couldn't bring the under-25 team with a trophy with us. It's a bit too big, unfortunately.
Well, thank you very much for bringing these 2 trophies. It's wonderful. You must be very, very proud.
Yeah, lots of money in engraving, so if you do win, make sure you're not the one paying for it.
You learn so much here at BoatLife. And is a Squib a good boat to sail? And it's not one of those race you to the bank kind of boats. It's a class boat, so keep things fairly simple. There's good fleets all around the country. Lymington, Cowes. I think they race them in Ireland.
Yeah, there's some in Ireland. There's also one in France as well. So Squibs are, like I said, they're double-handed keelboats. I think there was one here last year, a new Rondar Squib, which, unlike these ones, they're self-bailing, no need for pumps anymore, but fantastic boats. So you can pick one of these up for a couple of £1,000 and get out racing. One design yacht racing, which this is probably the best and most competitive racing one can do. So of course everything's standardized. There's 2 sail makers, so you don't have a choice, much of variation at all. All the boats are very, very similar. You can have one that's 50 years old or one which is 2 years old. There's no real difference at all. And they're such enjoyable boats to race. Our friend Ollie here, who's in the front, we got him into sailing last year, and he's in the process of refitting his Squib currently, so he's stripped everything back to the last bolt, and it will be rebuilt this summer apparently, but it's such an affordable boat and a great class to get involved in.
You've just hit on something. Accessibility. We're here at the boat show. There's obviously many thousands of pounds worth of kit here. It's about getting on the water. You know, boat life is about mucking about in boats, whether that's a stand-up paddleboard or some of these fantastic big boats here, from fishing to sailing to canoeing. Talk about the kind of the route, not necessarily for you, but the route that people here at Boat Life would want to take if they want to get into sailing, and how to stay away from that more exclusive side of sailing that I think sailing has had a reputation in the past, but I think is becoming so much more accessible. So give us a sort of an idea of how you get involved and how you'd approach sailing from your side of things.
Yeah, sure. These days, sailing clubs are very open to new members. We're not so closed up as, like you say, many clubs once were. There's so many youth programs, so many fun days out on the water. It's not always race, or like you say, just focusing on the niches. It's very much about a community and social side of sailing. There's sailing clubs everywhere, yacht clubs, all these sorts of communities which...
And you don't have to necessarily know how to sail when you turn up. You can literally go, I want to come along, get involved, and you can sit on the side and learn how to pull a rope, certainly on the bigger boats.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you say, big boats are the best. For learning how to sail, there's always positions where you can shadow someone, you can watch them, you can start to pull lines, even if you don't know what they do. If someone can say, pull that line now, and then you start to develop an understanding. Do it once or twice a month, you know, or just get used to it in the summer when the weather's warm. That's a fantastic route.
But obviously, we have a fantastic network of courses and opportunities to get on board with the Royal Yachting Association.
Yeah.
And they will tailor something depending on where you are, what boat it is, what your level of where you want to go with racing or sailing or bigger boats, competent crew, level 1, all of these things. So the RYA is probably your first stop.
Definitely.
After sort of connecting with the club.
Yes, yeah. There's so many courses, so many places to, you know, like you said, whatever level you're at, there's a course for you, or there's a group of people out there who want to teach you. You know, people like myself, we're also instructors. I teach adult sailing a lot of the time, as well as cadets or our younger kids at our sailing club. I tailor it to everyone. You know, we're people like me are there to try and engage people in sailing, get them used to it, get them to enjoy the experience. Because a lot of the time when some people are younger, they're forced on a route, or maybe they might not like. Some people of our friend group, for example, were forced to race. That really was not their...
It just put them off,
It wasn't their enjoyment, you know.
Yeah.
They just wanted to be there for the social side. And these days, we can do that everywhere. There's also, you know, UKSA, other sailing charities and organisations like that, which do fun courses and it's so accessible these days.
Yeah. Do we have any young sailors? Do we sail? Not yet. Maybe one day. So my advice to young sailors, and certainly my advice to parents, is put the children into really good kit. Make sure a cold day on the water can put a kid off forever. So good kit, and you know, a good packed lunch. Make sure they're not cold and hungry, and you'll keep their attention and have a lot of fun. And then, and I'm sure, Thomas, you'll agree, mucking about on boats is also the best route.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, just if you're out with some friends or just with some people, just make up your own games. Like we used to play pirates in our oppies, and so we used to just try and capsize each other, run and jump on the other boat, and just mess around like that, or throw a tennis ball between the boats.
Because all those skills just from starting and stopping, it's
Yeah.
not about just sailing in a straight line.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could sail backwards if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, you challenge
Take
each
the
other to
rudder
that.
off.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. There's so many things you can do, and you don't have to go too far either. You can just sail in literally a 20-meter area and have a blast.
Yeah,
have an
yeah.
absolute blast.
So this is you guys winning another award. That looks like at Cows Week.
Yeah, that's Cows Week this year.
Yeah.
So Charlie there on the left in the white top, he's holding the Young Skippers
I think
Trophy there.
in this photograph, I was about 20 feet this way.
Yeah, you were.
Playing
Yeah,
some music.
That's it.
So,
That's it.
So here is you. This is a laser, and the Solent. It's a pretty
Yes.
busy place.
It is. Yeah.
Do you think you would have got into sailing as much if you weren't on the Isle of Wight?
Probably not. I mean, it's for us. We see the water wherever we are, pretty much on the island, and you just
Yeah.
think, you know, I can do so much stuff on land. Why not the water? But if I had knowledge, say I was in the Midlands or whatever, we've got the reservoirs. Knowing this from doing circuits and that, you know, they're still fantastic places to sail.
Well,
so
they're different challenges,
you're never off
aren't they?
limits. You're never off limits.
Yeah, you learn a lot from us sea sailors when you start sailing against what we call pond sailors.
Yeah.
When the wind drops, my God, they can beat you.
Yeah.
They're-
It's frustrating.
The skills you gain from sailing on inland waters are really, really useful in those light, sniggly conditions. Obviously, we've got more experience in waves and tides and that sort of thing. But what I'm trying to say is there's a cross section of skills that you get from sailing in different places. Not only dodging these big shipping lines with these scary car containers and shipping container boats coming through.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this actually was taken when I was doing the world record attempt for the greatest distance sailed in a single-handed dinghy in 12
Okay.
hours. So we sailed 12 hours solo, no breaks, no stopping, just how far can we go? That was a long, tiring day. So this was towards the end of the day when you can see I'm not hiking that hard. You know, I could be putting more effort in.
So where did you start from?
We started from the Royal Victoria Yacht Club in
Yeah.
Fishbourne, and then I was sort of choosing a route just to sort of go at a reaching angle. So across the wind is our fastest point of sail usually. It's quite stable as well. So 45 degrees going from island shore to the mainland shore. Keep going back, sort of working my way up the Solent with the tide. When the tide switched direction, try and come back the other way.
So the record is just literally water under the hull.
Water under the hull. It's not from the bird's eye view, point to point.
Right. So
Yeah,
you
but
just need to clock up miles
just need to
through,
clock up miles.
through from a GPS situation. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
did you do it?
Yeah, we broke the record.
Congratulations.
The official record. It's quite difficult to do in the sense that there's so much paperwork. We have to have witnesses. We have to have video. We have to have GPS data. All this sort of stuff. All these things that could go wrong on the day. So trying to choose the right day to do it is also
How much did you break the record by?
about 30 kilometers.
Right.
We ended up going 107 kilometers in the laser, which doesn't sound like quite a lot, but when you're getting battered by waves, the next day I could barely walk. I mean,
I'm sure. And any other record attempts in mind?
Not at the moment.
Or are you two trying to beat that record?
No. I was on the support rib that day. That was the worst 12 hours of my life. It was just miserable being on that support boat. So if you do want to break the record, you can try, but I won't help you. You're going to have a good team, or just don't tell them what it really involves, and then give them a bag of sweets afterwards.
So we've heard from Harry about doing the event. We've heard from you about supporting event. What's your motivation regarding, the challenges, in these sailing events?
So for us, of course, we want to beat each other. And now, yes, we sail lasers from time to time, so single-handed dinghies. But with us sailing our Squib, it's a double-handed boat, although we started 3 up. And then, because we were quite small, we started at 15, so it's, we're not the biggest of people, so we needed the extra weight. But these days, we just like to beat everybody else. It's great being young and nimble on the race course on your boat, but there's nothing better than beating a seasoned veteran sailor who's 3-4 times your age. And that drive to be better and just beat everybody else, it's something which has never got away from us. So it's went from trying to beat each other with now trying to work with each other to beat everybody else. We did have a funny incident a couple of years ago at Cowes Week when we were 3 up, and it all ended in tears. We had a choice on the race course. Do we go left or do we go right? I can't remember which way we went, but it all went horribly wrong, and Harry ended up in the cockpit of the boat crying his eyes out for the next hour or so. But yeah, that's...
So do you feel that you have an advantage being triplets?
Yes and no. When tensions get high and it can boil over quite quickly, you have to go back and see them at the end of the day. But we work very well together. We know exactly how each other think. So what we want to do on the race course, we always go, yeah, no, we believe in you, and we trust that that's the right decision. But it's always an uphill battle in sailing, especially when you're racing. Do you put the trophy at risk to go outside, think outside the box, and put yourself in a potentially sticky situation on the race course, or do you play it conservative? Do you think, there's no point ruining our relationship for a trophy when it could all end in tears? But
yeah. Now, Harry, you obviously did that laser world record. Out of the 3 of you, have you got any other? What's next? Have you got something on your horizon?
So this year we've invested heavily into our boat. We've got new sails, so we're looking at doing the nationals in the Squib class. So that's coming up. That's quite a big.
And where are the nationals?
The nationals are going to be in Weymouth, so
okay.
A nice sailing location for us sailors. And that's going to be in the summer, a couple of weeks before Cowes Week. So we'll be back to defend our titles, where hopefully we can try.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. We've also got some fun things coming up, which is the Island Games, International Island Games.
And they have sailing in the Island Games?
Yeah, we've got single-handed sailing, so back in the lasers again.
And where's that?
That's going to be in Guernsey.
In Guernsey, okay.
Yeah,
because I know they have like gig racing and all sorts of different things in the Island Games. Yeah,
multi-sport event.
They've
got everything from athletics to mountain bike riding, sailing, that sort of stuff. We did it. Me and Charlie did it last time in Gibraltar in 2019, so that was a fantastic experience.
Brilliant.
And we're doing it again, this summer. So more stuff to look forward to. Very much amateur still sailing, but trying to do it around a work life. But I think we're a good example of that. You can achieve quite a lot when you've got full-time jobs and you're working out things and just doing it by yourself. You can still do all these things and achieve great things.
Yeah. Now I'm going to wrap things up soon, but Thomas, giving back to the community, do you take people out sailing who wouldn't necessarily get on the water? I mean, how do you see some of your privilege being able to share that?
Yeah, so a lot of experiences with our yacht club. We do lots of events and sort of days out for sailing. So for people who might not be able to go out so often, or who haven't even sailed before, and just give them the opportunity to have that experience. And you never know, maybe one day they'll come back, or maybe they may even just take it up for themselves, as an enjoyable way out. You can just launch from the beach or something on a good day and just enjoy it. It's something we really do care about, and we are always more than happy to go out of our way and help people, either share our experiences or just teach someone, just because they want it. You know, for nothing. It's probably more. It's more what we enjoy, if I'm being honest with you. We love the ability to just give to someone, be like, oh, you've never sailed before. Do you want to come out and have a good time? You know, we're not talking about racing. We're just talking about enjoying sailing for what it is, and I think that's really important as well, because especially a lot of people that we have encountered in more recent times, having gone to uni and making friends there, that a lot of these people haven't had the opportunity to get out on the water at all, and to offer it to people is phenomenal, really.
So you certainly, I'm sure all three of you would agree, from what we've talked about today, there are many different routes to get on the water, and that's certainly what we're trying to promote here at BoatLife. You personify that ability to join a club, start at the bottom, and then you could be winning things at Cows Week, and setting world records. I wish the three of you all the best. I shall be at Cows this year, looking out for you.
Brilliant.
And just best of luck, and thank you so much for bringing your awards and your story to BoatLife here in the Salt Stage. Thank you very much.